This is Sandy Asper reporting for Costa Mesa Brief. We are at the Newport Mesa Unified School District Administrative Building, and the board meeting is going on right now, and I'm reporting on the John Caldecott versus Newport Mesa Unified School District, and John is here now, and I'm going to ask him a couple of questions. Hey, John.
Hi, Sandy.
So what happened tonight that didn't happen the last couple of times?
Well, what happened tonight, I think everybody knows about Paul Reed's compensation of $340,000 paid over 9 years, not to retire, in tax-free dollars. Everybody already knows that. It wasn't on the salary statements approved by the board annually. Everybody knows that. What I reported on some new public records that I obtained through the Public Records Act that shows the compensation trail. And I can tell you there are major problems. Year 1 through 4, Paul Reed used his own staff under his direction to pay himself tax-free money through the vendor system. Now that would be like a vendor system is used if I want to purchase a classroom of desks, I would pay a vendor, whatever, $10,000. There's no income taxes because that's not the purpose of a vendor system. So Paul Reed allowed his staff to set this up and pay him directly, not into any account, but into his checking account. And he then used that money to buy STIR's airtime. That's not the way it's done, and I question whether it's legal and appropriate. Did the CBO, who has fiduciary responsibility for this $250 million budget, use his authority to pay himself tax-free money without going through proper IRS procedure? That's the concern. Now, year 5 through 9 are also questionable, because about the time that Dr. Hubbard, the former superintendent, was fired, the compensation switched over to the payroll register. Now remember, the district did not have it on his salary statement, but now it appears on the payroll register as a deposit to these special tax-free accounts. There is no paper trail on how that was approved. One, in order to do a deposit tax-free to a special account, you need to cite an IRS plan. 403B, people are familiar with in education, 457. I was given 100 pages of a prototype plan. There is no evidence that was ever approved by the board. That is a requirement stated right in this prototype that is a nationwide prototype and then requires approval by the district to make it valid for its type of contributions. So I question the whole program. This, I would say, is the most sneaky, hidden form of compensation as it's derived that I've ever seen.
And you said this to the board. You presented this to the board, correct? And so, what happened when you did tonight, like half an hour ago?
Well, I think you'll see there is a video of the board meeting, and you will see what happened. I was cut off again. I had half a sentence to go. I was abruptly exited.
John Caldecott.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board. I'm here to make a whistleblower's report. It's bad enough that paying the deputy superintendent $340,000 in tax-free money over 9 years as an incentive not to retire. 1. 2, failing to report this compensation on the annual salary statement approved by the board and presented to the public. And 3, failing to publicly approve the specific amounts of $30,000 to $40,000 each year. New information uncovered from public records, more public records. A very elaborate hidden scheme for the CBO to compensate himself with these tax-free dollars. The CBO used the assistance of business staff under his direction to carry out payments with no oversight. Year 1 through 4 of the 9, the CBO was directly paid as a vendor for these $30K to $40K amounts. Now that would be similar to buying a room full of chairs for students. That's how vendors are paid. And then when Superintendent Hubbard was terminated, the process switched to be buried amounts on the payroll register as tax-free deposits to special tax deferred accounts. Yes, on the payroll register, but not in the annual compensation statement approved by the board. There is no paper trail that exists that shows how it got to the payroll register. No oversight, no transparency for $340K. All district records were supplied to me according to the statement made by the Public Information Office. But the 100 pages of prototype documents for the 403B and 457B that is required to make tax-deferred deposits, that prototype, as required by the first paragraph in that prototype statement, what needs to be approved by the agency. There was no evidence that it was ever approved by you. That raises questions about those tax-deferred amounts through the payroll. It's no wonder the superintendent refused the forensic audit of certificated management salaries I asked for in October of 2014. He knew. He did not want these things to be discovered. As of tonight, if you didn't know already, you know now, and you own it from this point forward if you do nothing. I can only say 3 words: City of Bell. For information for the public, I have posted the documents.
Thank you, Mr. Caldecott.
May I complete my sentence?
Nope. Susan.
Caldecottinfo.com for the public. I appreciate your willingness to listen to me tonight. Thank you. I did tell the board, I asked for a forensic audit of certificated management salaries in October of 2014. It never happened. The superintendent I know knew about this. I told the board, if you didn't know, you know now, and it's on you. You carry the responsibility from day one, right now. And yeah, I believe that outside agencies need to come into Newport Mesa to further investigate wrongdoing.
What was your final sentence that they didn't want to let you complete?
My final sentence is, this is the City of Bell.
What was Paul Reed's reaction when you brought this up?
You know, I saw him out of the corner of my eye, and he was laughing. And I guess that's the arrogance that I've experienced with Paul Reed. May I complete my sentence?
Nope. Susan.
Caldecottinfo.com for the public. I appreciate your willingness to listen to me tonight. Thank you.
Susan Shear, Ken Bunker. You're going to have to help me, Susan.
I guess he thinks this is okay.
You don't think he's kind of worried about this?
If I were him, I would be worried.
So, John, what's the update? Because I know that you went to the DA in Costa Mesa. So what's the update from that?
I think you're referring to the complaint I filed, the criminal complaint against Fred Navarro. That is under the whistleblower laws that protect employees against retaliation in school districts. I contacted the DA. That was submitted on January 5th. I contacted the DA, and that is still under review. I will have the information tomorrow morning on my website, caldecottinfo.com. There'll be a link on the home page, but if you go to the main menu and click on Read, you can read through all the records. Yes, it's HR speak, but I want the public to have the records that I had that helped me make conclusions. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
You're welcome.